ANBERNIC previously mastered the folding hinge for the RG35X, XSP and the slider rail for the RG Slide. And this time, they finally managed to tackle and completely conquer the rotating axis of the RG Rotate, also known as the RG Zhuan. And this time, the rotating axis is truly incredibly silky smooth, that's no exaggeration. When rotated to a specific angle, it automatically springs open, and when you rotate it back, it retracts automatically. The entire operation is incredibly smooth and never gets stuck at any point. If I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I would confidently give it a phenomenal 9.5. The half-point deduction is due to a very small number of units that might exhibit a slight tilt, ranging from 0.5 to 1 degree. While this falls within the normal manufacturing tolerance and absolutely doesn't impact its ability to open, close, or function, if you happen to receive one with this slight deviation and it genuinely concerns you, there's no need to panic. Simply reach out to the official online store customer service and they'll definitely take care of it for you. So we all know what the 3C industry has been like this year, right? Memory and material costs rose. Many brands just gave up, not releasing a single new device. Only ANBERNIC is still consistently putting out new products. Alright, but we'll stop there for now. Let's get down to business. Okay, so putting aside this exceptional EDC style storage bag that has such a strong character, let's check out the device itself. Let's check its look, version, and build quality. This machine, it actually comes in two versions with two different shell configurations. One of them is this sleek silver metal edition. The entire frame of the device, the front casing, the back panel, and even the rear shell are all meticulously crafted from metal. It weighs approximately 200 grams, so it feels quite substantial and premium in your hand, giving it a very high degree of sophistication and refinement. Then there's the other version, the black one. Its screen bezel and the rear panel behind the screen are also crafted from metal. However, the lower section of the device's body is constructed from ABS engineering plastic, making for a distinct feel. Even though it's made of plastic, you can clearly see that its texture and feel are almost indistinguishable from the metal on the upper cover, which is quite impressive and well executed. The advantage of having a plastic lower half is that the entire device becomes significantly lighter, shedding approximately 50 grams, and consequently, the price point is also somewhat reduced. This also means that for prolonged holding, there will be less pressure on your hands. Therefore, based on your preferred texture, whether you favor a lightweight feel or the substantial quality of metal, you are free to select the version that best suits your taste. I will just switch back to the default wallpaper once more. The RG Rotate screen, features a 3.5-inch diagonal, 720 by 720 resolution, square IPS, fully laminated LCD display, providing a crisp and vibrant viewing experience. That square screen actually, it's not the first time ANBERNIC has utilized such a display. So here we have a pretty detailed comparison chart showing the different screen displays of various models. Thus, when the image isn't stretched at all, a smaller amount of black space indicates a greater screen utilization rate. You can easily verify the display performance of the models you are particularly interested in. Thanks to advancements in screen technology, this RG Rotate model shows no signs of light leakage or screen sinking, which is a significant improvement. What I mean to say is, if you press on the four corners of this screen, it feels very rigid, just like a smartphone. It's not the kind of display that you can actually depress or push inwards at all. What's more, the company even includes a custom-made tempered glass screen protector. I didn't bring the film with me today, I left it in the box. Since the screen bezel of this device has about 0.5 millimeter of height clearance, it's just enough to accommodate the thickness of the screen protector. Once it's applied, it creates a perfectly seamless and snug fit. Now let's move on to discuss the buttons and the overall control layout of this device. On the device's upper section, we can clearly see it's fully equipped with L1, L2, R1, and R2 shoulder buttons, which are by default designed to maintain a horizontally level position. Inside the box, you'll also find a slightly taller set of L2 and R2 shoulder buttons that players can replace themselves if they choose. The method for replacement is incredibly straightforward. Just open the back cover, undo these 4 screws, then take it off, and you can easily swap out the shoulder buttons. It's so easy, anyone can do it. However, you will absolutely need a 1.5mm hex screwdriver to perform this operation. Now, the press feel of all the buttons on this RG Rotate is exceptionally crisp and remarkably firm to the touch. There's no loose or cheap feeling, and if you shake the device, you won't hear any rattling at all. The button's force has been clearly optimized. The actuation force is just right, not too light, not too heavy. You could say it feels incredibly close to the original GBA-SP. Now, regarding the core processor of this RG Rotate, when many people first discover it's equipped with the Unisoc T618 processor, they may be skeptical. believing its performance is merely adequate and doesn't align with the configuration pace of current mainstream handhelds. But after testing it, I must caution against falling into the trap of performance misconceptions. First and foremost, you need to grasp this device's inherent product positioning. Its primary aim is to deliver an ultra-compact portable retro gaming experience, not to be a high-performance, enthusiast-grade gaming console. However, to run high-load masterpieces like PS2 games, a higher spec processor is definitely required. But that kind of high-performance solution would require fan cooling, a large capacity battery, and of course a joystick would be absolutely essential. If you do all that, the device's body size and weight would simply be too much, completely violating the original intention of this machine being a lightweight, pocket-friendly device. So for a device like the RG Rotate, which focuses on retro nostalgia and portability, blindly stacking high performance is pointless. In fact, it's just a way to add unnecessary weight, increase power consumption, and ruin portability. Thus, the T618 processor placed within this particular device achieves the ideal and most appropriate equilibrium point. It truly handles most retro emulators with ease, perfectly aligning with its design. Regrettably, the T618 chip does not actually support wired video output. It is limited to wireless screen mirroring functionality. But if you're gaming, you can definitely feel the wireless screen mirroring lag. Therefore, I believe its optimal use case is definitely for carrying in your pocket and enjoying on the go, rather than using it in the living room. Now let's look at the RAM and storage. 3GB plus 32GB. This combo might seem unremarkable, but it's actually a very practical and precisely adapted combination. As I mentioned earlier, the entire industry is facing exorbitant memory and storage chip prices, keeping hardware costs incredibly high. Manufacturers simply can't afford to endlessly over-provision, piling on massive RAM and storage, as those extra expenses would inevitably be passed directly onto the retail price. Wouldn't you agree? And with 3GB of RAM, it ensures the Android 12 system runs sufficiently smoothly. The 32GB internal storage is also plenty for classic retro small games. For example, GBC, GBA. Even if you load up the entire collection, you probably won't use up all 32GB. Moreover, this machine fully supports TF card expansion of up to 2TB. So if you feel it's just not enough, you can simply insert your own card to get the extra storage you need. The official store offers a game integration package for download. Just ask Taobao customer service for the link to get it. And if you already possess a card for any ANBERNIC Android handheld device, you can simply plug and play with it, given that its front-end emulator management platform remains identical across devices. And this front end I'm talking about, you can bring it up just by pressing and holding this small circular button. Ah, here it is. It's already pre-sorted some of the consoles. The card I'm using is for the RG405, specifically one of its cards. It's already categorized some of the games for you, which is very convenient. Once you enter a specific category, you're free to choose any game and start playing. It's incredibly user-friendly. Essentially, it's designed for immediate, effortless enjoyment, allowing you to just pick it up and dive right in without any complicated setup whatsoever, making it remarkably convenient. Let me also briefly explain the audio interface configuration for everyone. This device doesn't have a traditional 3.5mm headphone jack, so for your daily music listening or gaming, if you prefer to use wired headphones, you can simply purchase a pair of Type-C headphones, plug them in, and they'll work perfectly. For those who prefer wireless convenience, connecting Bluetooth headphones is no problem at all. Yes, you can easily pair with new devices directly from this convenient drop-down menu right here. And for charging the device and transferring data, you'll need to plug into this Type-C port located on the top. And while it's charging, this red indicator light here on the device will illuminate. Alright, the speaker volume is now at its maximum, and personally, I truly believe it's perfectly acceptable. For everyday gaming, the sound quality is definitely sufficient. There's absolutely no cracking or distortion whatsoever. Of course, if you're quite particular about the bass performance, then plugging in headphones will definitely be much better than just using the built-in speakers. Finally, let's talk about the most core feature of this device, and that's its rotating axis. I've opened and closed this test unit hundreds of times already, and its hinge still feels silky smooth to the touch. It hasn't become loose or shaky, nor has its play increased at all. The locking positions are incredibly precise, and it absolutely doesn't get looser with repeated use. And I also noticed a really thoughtful and considerate detail. On the body, precisely at the joint, there's a cylindrical rubber pad nestled inside. What's more, this entire white ring surrounding it is also a rubber gasket. The purpose of this design is specifically to prevent any scratching or scuffing between the front and back parts of the device, as long as you operate it by opening it at a normal and appropriate angle. And close it normally. Don't use brute force to yank or bend it. Or if you press hard on the screen and push it up, these two parts basically won't make contact. So, these rubber components are primarily designed to provide a protective underlayer. You can tell the official manufacturer really paid attention to the craftsmanship details. Everyone, take a moment and listen to the distinct sound of this all-metal device as it opens and closes. Now, if you compare that to a semi-metal or even a plastic device, their sound will be noticeably softer. Do you hear the difference? Honestly, you really don't need to worry too much about the device's durability. Even if we take 10,000 steps back, and you do encounter slightly larger tolerances or quality control issues, don't panic. The real fear isn't the machine having a problem, but the manufacturer's after-sales service not keeping up. ANBERNIC's after-sales service has always been solid. As long as you buy through official channels like Taobao or JD, any issues will be resolved properly. You can be completely at ease about that. In addition, the style of this clock can also be replaced, offering various options. Regarding the settings for this rotation feature, they can indeed be fully customized. It offers several different combinations, so you're able to modify it precisely to align with your personal usage preferences and habits. So I, Xiaoyang, think this machine, thanks to its unique rotating screen, the premium metal materials, and the perfectly adapted regular and timeless square screen, along with ANBERNIC's consistently reliable after-sales reputation, positions the RG Rotated as a truly earnest, distinctive, and high-quality model in this year's domestic handheld gaming market. So, if you're a player who adores retro, nostalgic games and desires a portable gaming device that you can hold onto for the long haul, then I truly believe this RG Rotated is precisely what you've been searching for. Finally, let's talk about a very practical question. Between the silver and black versions, which one should you choose? Let me give you some honest advice. If you're experiencing any hesitation at all, just go straight for the silver full metal version. Because I believe that what's expensive is cheap. Why is that? Many people might struggle at first, thinking the black version is cheaper, but once they get it, they can't help but keep thinking about that full metal texture. If you decide to switch later, the hassle and time cost plus shipping will end up being more expensive than just buying the metal one directly. And there's another very practical point. Devices with metal bodies like this inherently hold their value better than plastic ones. So, if you ever consider reselling it for some cash back, the silver metal version will be much easier to sell and command a higher price. This way, it's a one-and-done deal right off the bat, and in the long term, it will actually be more cost-effective. Alright friends, that's going to be it for today's brief review or recommendation.